But mic check 1 2. What is this, man? You now tuned into Imperfect Sense right here on Unified Radio.tv. I'm Eric E. Mr. Dawson, whatever call it, whatever it is you want to call it. But please, I beg you, do not call me a midget. I got Flesh with me. I got Conway with me. You know what I mean? Hey, look, we got somebody came to talk a little bit of ish. You know what I mean? This guy's he's a legend. You know what I mean? Baltimore hero. 14 Karat Harmony member. Legacy member. You know what I'm saying? 1-4 for Dru Hill member. We got brother Nokio in the building. What's up? Got brother Nokio in the building. But look, everybody that's tuned into Imperfect Sense, y'all know how we do. We got to drop out disclaimer. So look,
say that shit right.
Say it straight.
Straight.
Straight. Okay, look. If you got any problems with what? Your gender, your race, your religion, your sexuality, this ain't the show for you. You're not going to Me Too movement. None of us over here. We say what we want. This is Imperfect Sense. Y'all already know that, man. We're opinionated. We're going to say what's on our mind. We're going to keep it 100, keep it a buck, keep it real. And this is what this show is about. Because today it's going to get a little funky.
I get the disclaimer at the same time y'all fucking
No. You already say what the hell you want to say anyway. Yeah. But look. Check this out, man. This is all Dru Hill Unsung recap with the God Nokio. He got some shit to get off.
And he got another bully with him now, bitch. I'm gonna beat a couple niggas up.
Oh, we gonna get into who you want to fight.
Oh, all right.
We gonna get into who you want to fight in a minute. But first things first, brother Nokio.
Yes, sir.
Did you agree with the Unsung?
Well, for years I resisted doing it. Because some of my OGs that's in the business, and I ain't gonna put them out there and shit, you know, it's basically
got one with you today.
Man, I ain't fucking Unsung, so what the fuck I'm gonna do Unsung for? So, I mean, and that's just how they felt. So, it was kind of like a weird time when we did it because we was going through stuff with jazz and shit. And
right.
Was, you know,
shout out to jazz.
It kind of just came in the middle of all of that. And, you know, it was like, I mean, what do you do when everybody want to do it and you just like, all right, cool, let me, you know, just go ahead and, you know, not that I got nothing against the show and my guy, Marquise that did the show, you know, it's a great show, but, you know, you just, I guess I'm one of them people that, like, certain things I feel like are for, like, later on.
Right.
So I didn't really know how it was going to come off with us still being out here. Like, I don't watch a lot of TV and stuff, so right. I don't, you know, like, I didn't have a point of reference, you know, to... you know, as to what it was going to look like to everybody else. It's like, well, did we look old and shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, did we look like we going home after this? Like,
right.
I don't know.
I
don't know what the fuck is going on for real.
Right.
See, for me, right, when I heard that Unsung was doing a clip on Dru Hill, it fucked me up a little bit, but I was happy because Dru Hill got me through a lot of... That's all of it. Say, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But they got me through. I almost tore my ACL doing that tell me about. Like, yo, like last year I posted this shit on the gram and tagged him. Like, yo, you see my knee? I'm fucked up out here. Like, because the record come on, you gotta jump, even if you're in the car.
But it's like, Unsung for me is for no shade, like H-Town. They not out, you don't see them even doing a show no more. You feel me?
Right.
Like for knowing that y'all got another album coming and all that other shit working on that, it's like, how they Unsung, they still out here.
Well, you think it's for people that's just not relevant? You think it's...
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't going, you know what?
No.
I mean,
but
like,
I get what you're saying.
Well,
though.
you know, like, let's
I get
like,
what you're saying,
I will say that, like, H-Town is, like, one of the groups that definitely, you know, they definitely work. So, you know, I don't want to just, but, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but for the, I guess it's close to maybe what I was saying, like, when you look at it from the outside, you know, and you think about people who, you know, just aren't moving around because that's what it is, you know, a lot of times. So, you know, like I said, I was just kind of, I mean, I literally had to look at it and, like, ask people before I watched it, like, what that shit look like, because I really don't, remember what the fuck I was saying and
Right.
you know all of that stuff. But you know, I mean, it was cool at the end of the day. I mean, I knew what I was going to go in and say and not say, and at the end of the day, you know, like I know how not to give no whole bunch of sound bites and
Right.
you know shit that can break off into whatever. So I just kind of like stuck to the story, knowing that you got 8 people that you're interviewing, and that's just a group, and everybody that's been in the group. So my
There's different
other
layers
thought
to it.
was,
Yeah.
but here's my thought. I'm not giving you no extra shit to have on the cutting room floor to come back with later on that I might say that's wild, and then you turn into some other shit,
Right.
Yeah.
later. So you gotta be
Because once it
cognizant
hit the
of
internet,
that.
they flip it. Now, this is what I will say about the Unsung. Like, I thought it was good, but it was too short. Like, Unsung is too short.
Well, I think initially, and I will say that just from what I know, it was a very hard decision as to how to handle it because, and I mean, like, it went from, just the initial time to, like, we'll do 2 hours, does it turn into, like, a multi-date, whatever it is. But I think at the end of the day, and this would just be me. Like BT is in the process of like writing a biopic right now, so I
what
guess
you need.
people. I guess it would figure like okay, like we'll answer some of the questions and cause people to want to know more, and knowing that we got something else that'll give a little bit more of a understanding of what everything's been.
I see. I like that. See, I'm glad you touched on that because I was thinking when I was watching, I said, man, they need a story like.
No, that shit was
like
like,
they
a
did
young
New
in the
Edition.
wrestlers, like Jack just standing there and shit, and
Yeah.
the fucking screen go off.
You know what I'm saying? It's like your story is so long and it got so many layers.
Well, I mean,
believe
like
need
I
a
said, man,
series.
you got 8 niggas, like, starting out, you got, like, you can split this bitch down the middle, and we can be like, yo, you gonna do a show in New York, we gonna be in North Carolina, and we'll meet up next week, nigga. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying, when it comes down to it. So, just that alone, and then trying to get backstories from at least one person for every person that was there.
Right.
And then then try to get whatever you can get from the people that's outside of that. Still knowing you're not going to get everything. I mean, like I was like, man, everybody
feel
going to be
the- I
saying
feel
like
the
3
stories
words
come to
and shit.
BET
You
soon.
know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
feel like the stories coming to BET soon.
oh no, I mean,
I got a sad card. Let me just plug myself right now.
no, it is no. I mean,
I'm trying to get in the
yeah.
movie. I'm trying to.
You want to share?
I could be you. I can play you in the movie. Go ahead.
You know, I'm trying to get Johnny Depp.
You gotta
on me.
introduce yourself,
I'm
though.
just
You gotta let 'em know
joking.
who
I'm
you
joking.
is.
My name is Keith Ingram.
Right.
OG.
Kevin
OG
and
Keith.
Kevin and I co-managed the group.
Keith was there when I was wild as a bitch.
There's a number of different things as it relates to just telling a story.
Right.
The Dru Hill story, it took so many different things to happen and planned steps in order for this thing to happen.
Right.
And there were a number of very key people who were a part of it, who I didn't see, contacted,
Mm-hmm.
who adds layers to the story. I get what TV is because when you have static and you got the good and the bad and the ugly, a lot of people focus on the ugly.
Absolutely.
There's some things that happen with Dru Hill that probably has never happened with any younger group. And one of the things is you have 4 young men from Baltimore, positive. Everybody in the group.
Yo, they thought we ain't drinking nothing, yo.
Listen to me.
They wouldn't order no liquor for shit.
It's not just about not drinking or any of that kind of
Anything
stuff.
we did.
You from
But
West
the
Baltimore,
bottom
I know
line,
what you
I'm
be doing.
talking about family structure.
Right.
You got 4 guys who knew their mother and father and they lived in a home. In urban America, that's an anomaly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Hold up, man.
right.
Absolutely.
Wait, no, hold on.
Definitely.
Okay, I was just, man, let's be for real about it. Probably why I'm a little off. It's like I was the only one who didn't have that.
Who didn't have the father at home?
I didn't have, like, I was the only person in the group that, like, didn't have that mother, father, you know, come home every, just like everybody else, like, you go home, I mean, like, even if they work, like, you knew that they were coming home at some point. And, you know, early on, it caused a lot of problems at times because certain people didn't know how to respond to shit about that. And they end up, people used to get thrown out my house and shit, you know, whatever, because it just, it's a different thing. Like for me, I still sit here now and I look at people talking about their families. I'm like, damn, people do that for real.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I don't really have a point of reference on a lot of shit. And
Like a lot of us in this room.
You know your mother. You know your mother.
Yeah, but it's not that. No, but
listen.
Keith, no,
I
because you
understand.
weren't there in the beginning, yo. And I'm just being for
Well,
real, yo.
I'm
I'm just saying that, like making that a point is not the same thing, because the reason why I'm different from everybody is because I'm the only person that I don't know that. I do not have a memory of my mother and father living in the house together at all.
Okay.
Me either.
But here's
So what I'm saying is,
trying to say
I
to you.
know him, and at the same time, I know him, but I spent 26 years of my life not with my father.
Okay.
So it's not. So you can't. So what I'm saying is like that be one of the things that's like just my problem with the industry altogether. Like you can't correlate like everything together, and that's the reason why, you know, reactions are different and like other things happen, because it's not the same thing. Like I don't know a lot of stuff that a lot of people do for real. Like I don't even, like I sit back in amazement, like, man, do you got some VHS of that for real? Because I don't even know what you talk. Y'all do what? And everybody get together and what? And y'all and who? And y'all got together and paid for who to do what? It's just and it's not even that
it looks
nobody
foreign to
was
you.
negative. It's just that the
It's different.
situation did not exist for me to experience that. So it's like a lot of times it's just hard when that comes, when anything like that comes up, because I know what happened within the group because I was the only person that did that. I know the shit that was said. I know shit that happened. I know the times of disrespect and, you know, everything else that came from the fact that I was the only person that didn't know my father like that. That I was the only person that didn't. I mean, shit, even back then, I mean, going back to your third grade, like, my mother ain't come home from work till 11 o'clock. I saw my mother once a day. From third grade on. By the time I was in third, I was a latchkey kid. I go home, I cook dinner for me and my sister.
Yeah, and that's relatable because, you know, for the most part, I was a latchkey kid. Even being a single dad myself and raising mine on my own, like, my son didn't know that structure either. Because a lot of times he was a latchkey kid early. Like, I had to train him early because dad was out here getting it. You know what I mean? Even though he know mom, but mom and dad went in the house. It was me and him. And you touching on that subject of not coming home to your parents, your mother and father. Do you think a lot of times in the industry, that's a problem, especially when we come down to like when people get their earlier contracts and they don't know? Because sometimes if you're looking at that person that's in your life that's bringing you that contract, that's showing you that attention, that's taking your passion and get ready to make your passion a reality, you have a certain sense of trust. You know what I mean? Where you could probably look at that person like a mother or father figure and kind of let your guard down.
Nah, but see, I ain't never been like that for real. I mean, like, I think I was to a certain extent, just as being somebody that just understood respect. But I was going up to New York, sitting in with my man Donovan when he was signed to East West back in the day. I was
Dancing Donnie?
Yeah.
That's my man.
I would be going up to New York with him when he got his deal. And, like, I would be sitting in A&R meetings and marketing meetings and shit like that. So it was certain shit that I understood even before we had a deal. That's why when certain shit started coming before us, and it's like, Well, nah, like I haven't been in it to experience it, but I know that shit right there don't make no damn sense. For real. So it was never a thing. Like I said, man, my mother used to get mad at me because she would get a call from like Jazz Father. Like, oh man, where you at? And she be like, what you talking about? He's like, we just left out this meeting with Hiram and the record company. And she be like, I ain't know nothing about no meeting. And then she'll say something to me. I'm like, man, you don't know nothing about the music business though.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about having your parents there past 18.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like all you gonna do is come in there and make everything as confusing as everybody else is that don't know nothing about it. So if I already know more, I don't need you to I don't need you there to protect me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need you there to yell at nobody. I always show my whole career I show up by myself.
So the thing that you think that made you at a young age already have that business sense because
Oh no, man. No doubt, man. When I went to,
that's what that's what Unsung say. Like
I'm going to school with
Unsung,
I'm going to school with a briefcase, and I'm telling everybody I want to be a businessman and a producer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like this thing is Malcolm Gladwell, this real famous writer. You know, he's an author and newspaper, magazine writer, whatever. And he was talking about this thing called. I don't want to get the word wrong, so you might have to look up. I want to say he called people superconductors.
Okay. Meaning what?
Super detectives, I'm sorry, that's what I was. Super detectives. And basically it was like, what it is like, when they looked at all this group of people, and the one thing that was common between all the people is that they were all like kids of alcoholics. So being a kid of an alcoholic, what they were basically saying is that you learn early on that like what a person is saying out their mouth and what they doing don't always be the same thing. So you start learning how to decipher all that like at a young age. So then by the time you become an adult, you walk in the room, motherfuckers say two things. You like, yeah, whatever. We need to go with it.
Right.
I'm not even gonna let you take me down the yellow brick road to bullshit. For real. Like, I already know. Like, I could probably give you 10 things that you liable to do, and 3 of them you probably going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to look at me like I'm crazy and still go do that shit anyway.
Right.
So, it just made me, I don't want to say, I didn't, at that time, I didn't know that it was a trust issue. For me, it was just, when I first got in the group, it was like, my favorite thing to say was like, "Oh, y'all don't want to do nothing, I do it by myself."
Right.
So
I took the initiative.
I just always wanted to know. Like I wanted to have the information. I didn't. If I was going to be in the business, I didn't see the point of having somebody else know more than me. You might speak or whatever it is, but I just like being somebody that's like sitting in the back and you don't necessarily know what's going on until the moment that you need to know, and then you got to ask 50 questions instead of spending 50 times asking one question to get to the point of knowing. I want with that shit, man.
At all. Now,